Daniel, just a kind of a prediction for this fight. Obviously, I know you're very confident going into this second bout. How do you see the fight going?
A win.
A win?
Just a win.
And you're not looking for a knockout?
Knockout points, whatever happens, a win. That's my golden ticket. That's my prediction, a win. That's all.
Talk to me about that face-off down there. It kind of reminded me of that face-off you had with AJ when you kind of said, listen, I'm not gonna take a step back, you know? I'm gonna stand up to you a bit, you know? How come you decided to push him?
I was playful, I wouldn't really know.
Daniel Dubois has issued a bold statement ahead of his highly anticipated rematch with Oleksandr Usyk this July, promising to dethrone the Ukrainian legend and claim the undisputed heavyweight crown. The stakes couldn't be higher for Dubois. It's not just about revenge, but a chance to fulfill a lifelong dream of becoming the undisputed champion of the world. However, with Usyk nearing the end of his illustrious career, this fight is as much about legacy as it is about glory. The two men first faced off in 2023. A fight that left many fans with a bitter taste in their mouths, not because of the action inside the ring, but because of how it all ended. Dubois, who was holding his own against Oleksandr Usyk, found himself in hot water after being penalized for a controversial low blow in the 5th round. The call gave Usyk a breather and ultimately allowed him to recover before stopping Dubois. In the 9th round that night, Dubois felt the sting of a lost opportunity and a sense of unfinished business. It wasn't just the defeat, but the manner in which it occurred that haunted him for months.
And fighting Oleksandr Usyk last time out, he's going to take a lot of positives from that. Even though, you know, minus the low blow, the on the belt line, minus that, Usyk really was having his way with him. But you're going to take that experience of fighting in hostile territory, if you like, a stadium fight against Oleksandr Usyk back then. Since then, he's had 2 big fights in Saudi. He's had the AJ fight in Wembley. So he's going to make that walk July 19th. He's going to make that walk, and there's going to be no fear in making that walk. And I had a really good vantage point of seeing him make the walk for AJ. And I'm telling you now, that I don't know what they did to him in the change room, but that guy came out like old school Mike Tyson. He came out just wanting to fight. There was no looking around, there was no smiles. He marched to the ring, and he's gonna march to the ring again. This kid has no fear. Honestly, there's no fear. I wish we could kind of gauge like his heart rate. I think he's perfect right now.
Fast forward to 2025, and Daniel Dubois has undergone a remarkable transformation, once seen as a raw prospect with plenty of potential but lacking experience. He now stands as a legitimate threat in the heavyweight division. A career-defining knockout of Anthony Joshua at Wembley in September solidified his place as one of the top heavyweights in the world. Now, as the IBF champion, Dubois is preparing for another shot at Usyk, who holds the WBA, WBO, and WBC titles. The rematch is set to take place at Wembley Stadium on July 19th, 2025. And for many, it could very well be Usyk's final fight at the highest level.
I know he's had his defeats, but if you're going to do it, this is the time. You leave everything. You leave everything. You know what I mean?
Never been done before. Never.
You think he can do it, Simon?
I've always felt we could do it.
Yeah.
I've always felt that he has the capability of doing it. The thing for me is I think that Daniel Dubois is an irresistible force. I'm just worried that Oleksandr Usyk is an immovable object.
Yeah.
I think you have to have the very, very best version of Daniel Dubois, and maybe Usyk off by 2 or 3%. Dubois wins the fight.
You're exactly right.
If he is to win, no. If he's to, I'm going to pick him to win because I want to. Now that's me going with my heart because he's an Englishman. Who do you think wins the fight?
I still can't see past Oleksandr Usyk. You know, I think we just spoke about, is he getting older or is he getting better? I think the way he lives his life.
Get off the fence. I'm going to win.
I think Usyk.
Usyk.
The shadow of Usyk's career looms large, but Dubois isn't intimidated. He's vocal about his intentions, making it clear on social media that his aim is to take all of Usyk's belts, and to do so in dramatic fashion. Dubois' confidence is evident. And unlike the younger, less experienced fighter who faced Usyk in 2023, he has matured significantly. He has become more composed, more tactically aware, and most importantly, he has learned from the mistakes of the past. Now, instead of talking about how ready he was, back then Dubois is focusing on how much he's grown and how the 2025 version of himself is a much more complete fighter.
Top level guy, isn't he? Top level operator. You know, can't take nothing away from him. But yeah, at this level, they're all good. So I just need to be on my A game and focus, get right, and I'll go through him. I'll do the business.
And you know, obviously you fought for your heavyweight title, but this for Undisputed against Oleksandr, who is kind of known as the best heavyweight in the world. Will there be an extra bit of pressure?
Yeah, there's always fire in me. I'm always fired up for every fight I fight. So if it was, no matter who I face, with the odds on the line, I'm gonna be extra fired up to win this one and come away with a victory, and you know, just upset the plans again like we did with AJ fight. Just what shocked the world.
But is Daniel Dubois ready? The first fight against Usyk came too early in his career, and many critics have pointed out that he wasn't fully prepared. Usyk, who had already conquered the cruiserweight division and unified the heavyweight titles, was at a different level both physically and mentally. In a recent interview, Dubois' trainer Don Charles admitted that they were mad to take on Usyk when they did. Their training camp was short and intense, with just 14 weeks to prepare after Dubois had parted ways with his former coach Shane McWegan. Charles was trying to teach a new fighter his own boxing philosophy, while Dubois was still learning how to adapt at the top level.
What can I say? I can't elaborate enough. I'm very happy. We are very happy. We happen to be sitting on a log of wood, touch wood. Everything's going according to plan. Look, we're experienced now. The first encounter with Usyk in Poland was almost 2 years ago. We're like 5 weeks away from it being 24 months since I started working with Daniel Dubois. You know, so a lot has changed. A lot has changed. So very, very excited. Very, very excited.
For that, however, Charles believes that the Dubois we see today is far more prepared and far more dangerous. His rise since the Usyk fight has been remarkable, and many in the boxing world are beginning to take notice of his improvements. The knockout win over Anthony Joshua was a statement, and it confirmed that Dubois is now capable of competing with the best of the best in the division. His progression from a one-dimensional brawler to a more cerebral and adaptable fighter makes him a much more difficult opponent for Usyk in 2025.
We were ready. We thought as humans we were ready then. Now, I believe we're ready. Now I believe Daniel's going to receive the gift that was supposed to be for him 2 years ago. That's my take on it.
Nothing tells the story like time passing, and this is turning into quite the story. So if you look at Daniel in that first fight, away from home, he'd only just got with you as a coach. He was, heading into really the lion's den. No one was really picking him to win. It was limited experience, a huge jump up in levels.
Yep.
But the story now is, I mean, look at the last 3 wins, incredible. He's been with you so much longer. He's at home. He's in familiar surroundings of Wembley Stadium. It's all lining up.
Absolutely.
This big kind of almost spiritual moment.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, look, you couldn't write this. You couldn't write it. But it's real, it's happening, it's unfolding.
In the boxing community, opinions about the rematch vary. Legendary coach and analyst Teddy Atlas has been one of the most vocal proponents of Usyk, even while acknowledging Dubois' evolution as a fighter. According to Atlas, Dubois has indeed become a different animal since their first encounter. But even with that growth, Atlas is unwilling to back against Usyk, citing the Ukrainian's remarkable ability to always find a way to win.
Dubois has found himself. He's a different fighter. He's a different animal now. anyone who thinks that it's the same fight, they're wrong. I can't go against Usyk. I can't. Because the guy, his greatest strength is he always finds a way to win. Always. The amateurs, Olympic gold, cruiserweights, unified heavyweights, goes to London, fights a bigger guy, fights him twice, beats him. Then he goes and fights a bigger guy again, fights him twice, Fury beats him. I mean, the guy knows how to, finds a way to win. He's special, but he's getting older. I would have preferred, like I said, I have nothing but admiration for both. I have some maybe extra love towards Usyk for everything he represents for his country, to fight through what I said that he fought through. I love Dubois because he's a great story for people that have been down, that you can get up. Don't give up on yourself. You can find redemption. You can turn it around. He is a great example. But Usyk, I would have loved to see him walk off into the sunset after the last Fury fight. He's getting older. He's been in a lot of tough fights. He had hundreds of amateur fights. This is an unforgiving business. It is. I know it firsthand.
Chris Algieri shares a similar sentiment, highlighting Dubois' growth, not just in terms of physical ability, but in terms of his mindset and discipline. Algieri points out that Dubois is no longer driven solely by the desire for revenge, but is now a much more controlled and composed fighter. His dominant performances against top-tier opponents like Anthony Joshua and Jarrell Miller are seen by Algieri as proof of Dubois' maturation, both mentally and physically. Algieri believes this evolution could be crucial in the rematch with Usyk, particularly in a high-pressure scenario where composure is key.
But the narrative is much better for the Dubois rematch. You've got the fact that they fought, and then since then, Dubois has been on a tear, beating guys that he was the underdog against, Ergovich, and then Anthony Joshua, of course. You know, the guy has like really revamped his entire career, turned it around, gone from a guy that people saw as a quitter to being potentially the most dangerous man in the world. So you've got this narrative now that Dubois is a different guy, so this rematch will be different. Also, you have the fact that Usyk, in the ring after his win over Tyson Fury, Dubois came into the ring, challenged him, and Usyk said, Your Excellency, Turkey, make the fight with Dubois. He's a man of his word. That guy says something, there's a good chance it's going to happen. So I believe the narrative is there, you know, for this fight, obviously, and this is one of the reasons why it's being made.
Including Filip Hrgović, one of the men Dubois stopped during his run of form. Hrgović knows firsthand what it's like to share the ring with the British heavyweight. He went into their bout as the favorite, but was overwhelmed by Dubois' pressure and eventually stopped due to cuts in the 8th round watching from the outside. Now, Hrgo sees a very different Dubois compared to the one who faced Usyk the first time he noted that the Brit has clearly improved not just in power, but in confidence and durability. Even Dubois' chin, which had previously been questioned, now seems much stronger to Hrgović, though he still gives Usyk a slight edge due to his technical abilities. Hrgović warned that the rematch would be far more competitive this time.
Okay.
Who are you thinking? Usyk, Dubois?
Well, look, I think this now totally different fight than first fight. In first fight, Dubois was outboxed, outclassed, and now I think he's definitely different type of fighter, and he had 3 great wins, and his confidence is much better, much bigger. He did something with his chin. I don't know what, but his chin is better, and he's totally different fighter. But so I expect totally different fight and much harder fight for Usyk than the first fight. I still favor Usyk slightly, but I wouldn't be surprised if Daniel Dubois win that.
As the fight draws closer, the boxing world is split on who will emerge victorious. Usyk's technical brilliance and track record make him the favorite. But Dubois' growth as a fighter, his power and his confidence suggest that he will be a much tougher challenge than last time. The rematch promises to be a thrilling clash of styles with everything on the line for both men. For Usyk, it's about maintaining his place at the top and continuing his legendary career. For Dubois, it's about proving that he belongs in the conversation with the best and that revenge and glory are within his reach.